In this chapter, How to Tell a True War Story of the Things They Carried, O'Brien offers a story about Rat Kylie, and he assures to his readers that it is true. Rat's friend, Kurt Lemon, is killed, and Rat writes Lemon's sister a letter. This letter talks about her brother and the crazy things they did together. Rat believes the letter is too personal and touching. However, from Lemon's sister's viewpoint, it is inappropriate and disturbing. The sister never writes back, and Rat was left offended and angered. O'Brien suggests that Lemon's sister's failure to return the letter offers a kind of sad and true moral to the story. Lemon's death happened because of playing a game of catch with a grenade wherein he accidentally stepped into a booby trap, exploded, and lifting him up into a tree full of moss and white blossoms. O'Brien remembers body parts strewn in the jungle trees and thinks about his own memories of the event. He, he comments that in true stories, it is difficult to distinguish what actually happened from what seemed to happen. O'Brien offers readers the advice that they should be skeptical and offers a story told to him by Mitchell Sanders as an example. A six-man patrol goes into the mountains for a week-long operation to monitor enemy movement. The jungle is spooky, and the men start hearing strange, eerie noises, which became an opera, a glee club, chanting, and so on. But the voices they hear are not human. Sanders says that the mountains, trees, and rocks were making the noise, and that the men called in massive firepower. He says a colonel later asked them why, and they do not answer because they know he will not understand their story. Sanders says that the moral is that nobody listens. The next day, Sanders admits he made up parts of the story. Next, O'Brien tells what follows to Lemon's death. The unit comes across a baby water buffalo. Rat Kylie tries to feed it, but it does not eat. So Kylie steps back and shoots the animal in its knee. Though crying, he continues to shoot the buffalo, aiming to hurt rather than kill it. Others dump the near dead buffalo in a water or in a well rather to kill it. O'Brien concludes that a true war story, like the one about the water buffalo, is never about war. These stories are about love, memory, and sorrow. For this short chapter, The Dentist, of the things they carried, O'Brien remembers that when Kurt Lemon died, he found it difficult to mourn, as he did not know him well. He remembers Lemon's tendency to play the cliché role of the tough soldier, deliberately taking unnecessary risks and bragging and embellishing them with untruths. O'Brien offers this story as a means for guarding against sentimentality over the dead. The unit of soldiers had been in an area that was relatively quiet, with no direct combat with the enemy and no casualties. An army dentist visits the area to administer care to the unit. Though the dentist has only regimentary facilities, Lemon is especially scared because of childhood experiences with dentists. He faints in the dentist's tent before being examined. Others in the unit know about this because they help him on a cot after the episode. Lemon keeps to himself but cannot let what happened go unanswered. He complains about a toothache and has the dentist pull a tooth without finding a problem with it, which pleases him and helps him recover from his embarrassment. In this long chapter, Sweetheart of Song Trabong of the Things They Carried, O'Brien recalls a story of Rat Kailis. Though Rat swears the story is true, O'Brien doubts its accuracy. He explains that Rat exaggerates not because he wants to deceive, but because he wants listeners to almost feel the story so that it seems more real. Rat had been assigned to a medical detachment near Song Trabong in an area the medics shared with 6 Green Berets. The groups did not interact often. During an all-night drinking session, a medic jokingly mentions that the medics should pool their money and import some prostitutes from Saigon. One medic, Mark Fossey, is taken by the idea, and 6 weeks later, his high school sweetheart, Mary Ann Bell, arrives at the compound. Young and naive, Mary Ann insists on learning about Vietnamese culture and the Vietnam War up close. She assists when the medical unit receives casualties. Eventually, she stops wearing makeup and her attention is consumed by learning how to use an M16 assault rifle. Fossey suggests that she return home, but she does not. She begins staying out late, finally staying out all night. Fossey, realizing Mary Ann is missing, wakes up Rat. They search for her but do not find her. O'Brien interrupts the story to comment on how Rat told the story. Rat would stop with Mary Ann's disappearance and ask where she might be. Mitchell Sanders guesses that she was with the Green Berets because Rat mentioned them, and that is how stories work. Rat would, as, Rat would resume the story and tell his listeners that she was resting with the Green Berets in their hooch after an all-night ambush. The next morning, Mary Ann returns wearing green fatigues and carrying a rifle. She tells Fossey that they will talk later. But he is angry and will not wait. Later that day, Mary Ann appears fully groomed, wearing her feminine clothes. Fossey explains that they officially became engaged, and the pair maintains a facade of happiness. Fossey makes arrangements for Mary Ann's trip home. The next morning, she disappears again with the Green Berets. 3 weeks pass until she returns. The next day, Fossey waits outside the Green Berets area, waiting to see Mary Ann. He hears an eerie human voice. Pushing inside the Green Berets' hooch, he sees piles of bones, smells a horrendous stench, and hears Mary Ann chanting. She tells Fossey that she likes this life and that he does not belong there. Rat's platoon buddies dislike the abrupt ending and ask what happened to Mary Ann. He tells them that the rest is hearsay, but that he understands that she disappeared into the jungle. In this chapter, Stockings, of the Things They Carried, O'Brien recalls a fellow soldier, Henry Dobbins, and his habit of wrapping his girlfriend's pantyhose around his neck as a sort of talisman or lucky charm. O'Brien remembers Dobbins as a simple man with good intentions. When caught in a fight in the middle of an open field, Dobbins wrapped the pantyhose around his face and made it through the fight unscathed. The pantyhose, he believed, kept him safe, and he continued his eccentric practice even if after his girlfriend broke up with him because he said the magic did not go away. In this chapter, Church, of the things they carried, one afternoon, the unit comes across a pagoda where two monks who speak little English live in a shack. One monk leads the men into the rundown pagoda where they spend the night and set up a base of operations. The monks take pride in offering the men small items like a chair and watermelons. The monks especially like Henry Dobbins and learn to help him clean his machine gun. Dobbin tells Kiowa that he might join up with these monks after the war. He explains that he is not interested in the scholarly aspects of religion, but he would enjoy being nice to people. Kiowa says that he would not want to be a minister, but that he likes church, and he repeats that he feels wrong about setting up camp in the pagoda. In this chapter, The Man I Killed, of the things they carried, O'Brien describes a Viet Cong soldier whom he has killed, using exact and precise physical detail, including descriptions of his wounds. Then O'Brien imagines the life story of this man and imagines that he was a scholar who felt an obligation to defend his village. Azar comments to O'Brien about the dead soldier and is sent away by Kiowa, who senses that O'Brien is upset. Kiowa tells O'Brien to stop staring at the body and offers justifications for what has happened. O'Brien continues to imagine that the man he killed was devoted to his studies, that he wrote poems, and that he fell in love with his classmate. O'Brien sees that the man's fingernails and hair are clean and guesses that he has been a soldier for only one day. Later, Kiowa tells O'Brien that he is looking better. Even later, he tells O'Brien that he should talk about it, and again tries to get the disturbed O'Brien to talk. O'Brien's daughter, Kathleen, asked him when she was 9 years old if he had ever killed anyone. He told her no, but hopes that she will ask again as an adult. Again, O'Brien describes the Viet Cong soldier and tells how he saw him approach through the morning fog. He recalls being terrified and that his action was automatic, not political and not personal. He believes too that if he had not thrown the grenade, the Vietnamese soldier would have passed by without incident.